The Life Journey to Yi. Chapter 23. The Little Sunflower in the Sun. Many rural families keep dogs, not because people love dogs very much, but dog keeping is a powerful supplement to rural policing. When it drew near to the end of the year, theft cases would increase dramatically. Now and then, some families were intruded and some others had the locks broken. Some extreme theft cases might end up in murders. A neighbor's home in my hometown, which shared a wall with ours, was broken 3 times in half a year. People became very panicked, so why not keep a dog? The villagers would always report to police after the theft cases, and the police would send people to check the scene and take notes, but that was it. Whether the case would be solved depended on luck. For some small cases, with minor losses, the villagers did not bother to report to police. They just found a dog to keep. This was basically the case in our village and several surrounding ones. Of course, this did not mean that the police did not take any action. It might show that I had limited knowledge and only knew the situation nearby. My mother's home kept maximum 3 dogs. The first one was given by a friend after the house was renovated to keep thieves away. It was said to be an improved breed of Belgian Shepherd. It looked like a small meatball when it was just brought from the farm. The friend said, "Wait and see. It may not be much smaller than a donkey when it grows up." The puppy grew very fast. After a few months, it became very big and strong already. It had black hair all over the body without any trace of a different color. He was given a name of Black Tiger. Visitors to my family would be frightened at the first sight and would ask me, "Is this the puppy you told me about?" Black Tiger was really brave. During Spring Festival, we would set off firecrackers in the yard. When the firecrackers were ignited and exploded, he would spring up to fight with and bite the firecrackers until putting them out. This is the only dog I ever know that dared to bite firecrackers. During the half month before we moved into the new house, Black Tiger caught 13 mice, almost 1 every night. After biting the mouse dead, instead of eating it, he put the dead mouse on the step of the stairs, as if showing off for rewards. Mice were very common in rural areas, but my mother's house never had rodent infestation after Black Tiger killed the mice during the half month. It could be regarded as a miracle. Black Tiger soon became famous. The family with the big black dog became a synonym of our family. When the maintenance person of cable TV came to our home for maintenance work, he would call my home in advance. "Is the big black dog chained?" One day, Black Tiger broke free from the chain and ran out of the door. Mr. Shi, our neighbor, said, "I saw the dog run out alone without being chained. I knew it must have broken free by himself. Then I lay down to the ground immediately without hesitation." My father praised Mr. Shi. "Old Ginger is hotter than you." The second dog was a Scottish collie who had belonged to a relative. It was forbidden to keep dogs in the city, so they gave the dog to us. It was a female dog called Gege, following the name of the heroine of the TV series hit, My Fair Princess. The dog is very good at observing people's expression. If you sit there with your head dropping down and eyes closed, she will come over, looking at you with concern as if she's afraid that you might have an accident. If you pat her head telling her that you are fine, she would jump for a few times merrily. In those eyes, you can feel her sensitivity, gentleness, and kindness. The third dog came in a weird way. When winter drew near in the countryside, every family would buy a few tons of winter coal. One day, a coal truck was unloading coal beside the number 103 National Road. My mother asked the driver, "Why did you bring a dog with you on your way?" The driver said, "Isn't the dog yours?" A small dog was walking around the truck and no one knew where it came from. My mom took it home and kept it. "Why doesn't he have mouth and tail?" It was the first time I saw this kind of dog. Actually, that is how a pug looks like. A flat mouth, a small curly tail tightly fastened on the back. Pugs are identified not by the size or forehead folds, but by the ears. If the ears feel as smooth as silky velvet, it should be a purebred. Pugs with such traits normally also have other physical characteristics typical of this breed. Later, I traveled all over Tianjin and could not find another purebred pup like this one. Concerning the origin of this pug, it is speculated that it might run out of a car which parked temporarily along the way. Because he was the smallest in size among the dogs in my family, he was called Little Tiger, to follow the name of Black Tiger. The little fellow caught my attention because of my mother's words. "I wonder what animal we are keeping. Is this a dog or a rabbit?" This pug loved to eat cabbage, cucumbers, carrots, and he would have apples after a meal. I joked, "Little Tiger knows to balance the nutrition and pay attention to the meat-vegetable mix." Although Little Tiger had a small figure, he had a strong sense of protecting the house. Whenever strangers or unusual noise were noticed, he would follow Black Tiger, ran around and barked. Little Tiger was very courageous, as I had never heard him whining. One day he tried to eat an apple in front of Black Tiger, and his ear was bitten to bleed by Black Tiger, but he just kept silent. Another time, Little Tiger was sniffing the red coal balls just poured out of the stove. His nose touched the coal balls and was charred. He also kept silent. I really wanted to ask, "Little Tiger, does it hurt? Don't put up with it by yourself." People who keep pets often call themselves dad or mom of the pet. Little Tiger is my parents' dog. Although he was very small, I could only claim to be Little Tiger's elder brother, considering his rank of generation. Little Tiger had a hobby, sunbathing, and he truly loved it. Every day he spent most of his time sitting on the sun deck with the two hind legs flat, two front legs placed between the two hind legs, his head slightly raised, adjusted frequently to face with the sun, like a little sunflower. Sometimes he would doze off, shaking his head. This guy snored at night and dozed off under the sun in daytime. He seemed to have endless sleep. One of our neighbors appreciated Little Tiger a lot and found a lady pug to mate with him. Every time the neighbor would bring a bag of ham to Little Tiger and then put the lady pug beside him. Little Tiger just ate the ham and continued the sunbath without paying any attention to the lady pug. The neighbor visited us 3 times and he ate 3 bags of ham, still paying no attention to the lady pug. The neighbor said, "It seems that Little Tiger does not find the lady pug attractive." Later, my mother said, "Little Tiger played the trick of gaining food, didn't he?" I walked to the door of the parlor, glanced at Little Tiger who was sitting steadily on the sun deck. Thinking of his gracefulness without being disturbed by beauty, I sighed, "Alas, I'm not as graceful as you are." However, Little Tiger seemed to be in love with Gege at the first sight. When Gege was lying, he would come to her side, arching and catching. When Gege was strolling, he often followed behind and occasionally tried to mate with her. However, he could hardly reach her even by standing up. It's really a tragedy when a pug fell in love with a Scottish collie. One afternoon, when I was about to leave my parents' home, I walked down the steps of the sun deck and saw Little Tiger sitting steadily in the sun with his eyes squinted and his head slightly raised. Being amused by little Tiger's sunbath all day long like a sunflower, I asked him casually, "Hi, what do you think about this world?" Realizing that I was talking to him, little Tiger suddenly opened his eyes widely with delight, looking at my left hand, then my right hand. Discovering that both were empty, he moved his front paws, adjusted his position, and licked his mouth, with his eyes squinted and his head slightly raised again. I stood still for a long time and then moved my legs quietly back to the sun deck and sat down in a distance as close as possible, but without disturbing the little sunflower. My legs were held out flat, my back against the wall, my eyes also squinted, and my head also slightly raised. If there is a sudden enlightenment in the world, at that moment I encountered, why does the world care about your views? The point is whether you have your own way of living. The smell of sunlight was so good.